Hello, this is Bobby from Copel TV Repair. Today with a video about Samsung PN64H5000 and I'm sure several other 64-inch models that are suffering from the same problem. This video is to help somebody avoid beating around and troubleshooting something not so common for Samsung plasmas behavior-wise. If your TV comes up and just power cycles, this one doesn't anymore, so I cannot show you how it does, but basically the power supply will just say click, and then 5 seconds later, 4 or 5 seconds later, it will again say click, and it will again say click, and I don't think VS ever came up on that one. There are 2 points here that you can measure VA and VS on the power supply. Both are measured to ground, the positive probe on the VS on voltage and negative on the common ground anywhere here would be fine. I don't remember if VS and VA were ticking as well, but naturally logic says experience you disconnect first this board and then see if the clicking stops, then you disconnect that board, clicking stops, and usually that helps. When this TV, the clicking continued, which basically suggested either a power supply or the main board. Replacing the main board yielded the same. Testing the power supply out of the TV said that it was working fine. The culprit ended being a buffer board. The top buffer board here was shorted out, and apparently the firmware on this main board and the plasma logic, because they work together to power the sustains, is such that they expect feedback from the connected boards so that they can proceed with the power on sequence and get the boards to work fine. Something that wasn't there in previous models of Samsung and older generations. It was there in Panasonic for a long time. And this is new, and so people who had experience with the troubleshooting approach before, it wouldn't work anymore. This is the original buffer board that we've taken out and replaced. I'm sure pretty much, although not necessarily, I'm fairly certain all other TVs that use the same plasma panel and therefore the same buffer boards will have similar behavior. This is LJ92-02053A. This is the bad, that was the bad IC. And the way to find if a buffer is shorted, as we have shown on many other videos, and as you can see, I'm sure on many other companies' videos, is it's not a 100% reliable method, but it's nearly 100% reliable method, and it definitely worked in this case. What you want to do is you want to measure resistance on the legs of those red capacitors. They should be, as I'm showing in one direction, they should be infinite resistance, infinite. And if you flip the polarity, they should be something like 0.47. It varies from buffer to buffer what it would be. In this case, it is 1189, which is pretty high. Normally, it's lower. And those are not the only two testing points. I often measure here between the common ground, the floating ground, and the sustain output. Those are either the same or best proxies. It's just easiest to remember. If you have a resistance that is lower than that, and especially if it's bidirectional, unlike this, which is infinite in one direction, if you don't have resistance in both directions, there is a problem here. And the way you find a problem here is you got the common ground on. It's easy to find which one is the ground, basically. It has the most pins here, and you start tracing the individual output pins that will lead you to the bad IC. Usually it's shorted or has a low resistance, 50, 80, 20 or so ohms, and that will give away the bad IC. If you remove the offending buffer board from the TV, it should be able to power on and stay on. And if the other buffer board is fine, and if it is the top buffer, there will be no picture on the screen. If it is the bottom buffer, you should be able to see image on the screen. This is the TV with the repaired buffers. We do replace buffers. We do sell repaired or original buffers on our website. If you need that buffer, go to CopelTVRepair.com, search for the part number that is here, LJ92. I just said it earlier today, and you can get a replacement board. Hopefully that will save somebody time and money. Thank you.